Hi, welcome again. We are on a learning journey, and this is another part of our series. Thank you for watching this and trying to develop, because I think the biggest thing is as you develop, you grow, and is your place where they just work, or is it a place where they grow? And we're all trying to develop. So thank you again. Downtown Kelowna thanks you for trying to hone your craft. So let's dive in, and I want to start with a little bit of a smile inducer, which is, I was thinking about a job, hanging mirrors. It's a job I can really see myself doing. I know, a lot of fun. I want to thank Downtown Optometry. They sent me a beautiful note, and thank you again for reaching out and saying such kind things. Okay, feedback I've received is, Rick, we love the buffet of information, but can you just tighten it a little bit, because we're trying to watch it on our lunch hours, we're trying to watch it after work, and if we can just condense it a little bit. So I'm going to try and do that today, just because I listened to your feedback, and we want to make sure that we're listening to your feedback, because listening is key. Okay, today it's all about some massive concepts that will help you immensely in day-to-day life, in business, as well as at home. Okay, so let's just buckle in, and again, use it for what you need it for. You don't have to take everything. Just take what you need and use it. All right. All right. So before we dive into the concepts, I want to talk a little bit about listening. So in the book, and here's the book right here, it's called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Recommended read. So he's an FBI negotiator, one of the tops in the FBI. And here's what he does whenever he's listening to a terrorist, bank robber, whatever it is. How many people listen on the line while they're getting these demands? It's 5 to 12. And that seems like a lot, given the fact that it's just a conversation. But here's the key. There is so many verbal cues that are given in a call. So Chris says, in order to get the entire picture, listen to the pauses, the hesitation, the inflection, the tone, everything that tells you the story. So 5 people for one phone call. So that means we really have to engage this when using the techniques I'm about to unveil. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is, I noticed this over the course of years of talking to people, is if you're listening to their eyeballs, and I call it listening to their eyeballs, because as the eyeballs are flitting around, and the eyeballs are scanning your face at all times, they're looking at the chin, the mouth, are the eyes moving? And so if you're listening to the eyeballs, it means you're intensely listening, and you're probably going to pick up everything that's needed in order to properly be a good conversationalist and be good at this stuff. Okay. Okay, now back to the book. So throughout this entire journey, this learning journey, we've talked about paraphrasing and how powerful it is. So I'm going to read from the book just on what paraphrase means in the FBI headquarters. So you're getting FBI training from the Downtown Kelowna. FBI training. Isn't that crazy? Okay. You ready? I'm reading from the book now. It's almost laughably simple. For the FBI, a mirror is when you repeat the last 3 words, or the critical 1 to 3 words, of what someone has just said. Of the entirety of the FBI's hostage negotiation skill set, mirroring is the closest one gets to a Jedi mind trick. Simple yet uncannily effective. By repeating back what people say, you trigger this mirroring instinct, and your counterpart will inevitably elaborate on what was just said and sustain the process of connecting. Psychologist Richard Wiseman created a study using waiters to identify what was the more effective method of creating a connection with strangers, mirroring or positive reinforcement. Here's what they did. The waiter came up, and whatever you ordered, say it was a steak medium rare, they would say, "Oh, that's a wonderful choice, Mr. Maddison. Wow, that's a great choice. Fantastic, one of my favorites." So then the next step was they brought the same waiter in, and what they did is say, "Okay, Mr. Maddison, so you said steak medium rare." So they repeated the last 3 words of my order. The tips went up exponentially for the waiters that mentioned the last 3 words. So think about that for a second. Instead of positive reinforcement, the last 3 words, paraphrasing, meant people's experience lifted so much that they tip more. So use it today. Paraphrasing is one of life's greatest communication treasures and techniques. And I'll talk about it as many times until somebody listens to me or paraphrases back with it, what I just said. Okay. So again, on this particular learning journey, we talked about downside, and I'm going to get into that in a second. Let's talk about when you're presenting an idea, when you're presenting a thought to someone. Now, again, this can be related to retail, it can be related to accounting, it can be related to, well, virtually any product or service. So the first thing is you have to know that the person you're talking to is dubious. They're unsure. They're unsure of what you're trying to sell them or talk to them about, okay? And their brain is screaming the entire time, what aren't you telling me? You're not telling me something. And they're trying to figure out what that is. And so sometimes their listening gets impaired because they're thinking, what am I not understanding about this entire presentation? Because again, they're dubious. Now, here's what we've learned over the course of a lifetime. Not everything can be fabulous. It really can't. We wish it was, and sometimes we delude ourselves. And don't get me wrong, life is great. But sometimes things can't always be that great. They can't all be that fabulous. So we're going to figure out a way to make building a connection a little bit easier. Okay, people buy for two reasons, trust and value. You have to establish both. So let me give you two scenarios. I love doing these two scenarios, and it involves a vehicle, okay? So I'm trying to sell you a vehicle. And okay, so Rick, this used Nissan Murano, it has excellent interior. The bodywork is fantastic. In fact, all-wheel drive, so you're safe even in winter roads, and going up to Big White is a breeze. Okay, so that's one. Number two is, Rick, this Nissan Murano has great interior, soft and supple. The exterior, you know, it is actually perfect. And it has all-wheel drive, which is great for the winter weather. Now, here's the thing I need you to know, though, is the winter tires on this particular vehicle are not that great. In fact, they're only about 30% left because it's a used vehicle. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that before you go ahead with the purchase, just so that you can source out other tires, or we can sell you the tires, but I just felt it was important for you to know that. So which one built more trust? Which one felt like I gave you the whole story? Well, for most people, it was the second one. When I mentioned about the winter tires not being that great, 30% tread wear. What that means is I gave you a potential downside. And what a lot of people that are inexperienced in presenting do is they don't offer up something, a sacrificial lamb, so to speak. And that's what we need to do in presenting, is figure out what could be a downside. And let's dive into this downside, because it's a powerful concept that you need to understand in order to use it effectively for you and your staff. Okay. Okay, so here's one of the things. Make sure it's manageable and not nuclear. And what I mean by that is, manageable is so the tires can be replaced in the Murano. Okay, they can be replaced. You can effectively get over that. So if I know that before I'm selling, I'm gonna dabble that into my presentation. Now, if it's nuclear, in other words, the transmission is shot and the engine has very little life left, the chances of me selling that Murano are very low. So what do we need to do? We need to figure out something that's going to be easily overcome, or it's not one of their hot buttons to going forward with the thought, whatever you're trying to present. Okay. So by doing this, it helps the listener with their internal balance sheet, because again, they're thinking about the deposits and they're thinking about the subtractions. Okay. And so in order for you to go forward with trust, you need to add something to that other side of the balance sheet. Otherwise, it's unequal. And everyone knows life can't really be all that fabulous. There has to be something. There has to be some warts. But where are they? This, above anything else, allows trust to be gained instantaneously, because now all of a sudden, instead of selling a concept and a product or anything else, you're a consultant. You're working alongside them on getting the best idea forward because you're giving them the whole story. Now, but Rick, I have products, I have ideas, I have services that actually I don't have any downsides to them. Then get one. You need to find one, because here's the thing: if you're not doing the work, which is, and it could be a potential downside, it doesn't have to be a downside, but it could be a potential one as well. You need to figure out what that's going to be in order to move the idea or concept forward. Trust me, you need to walk around, you need to think about it, you need to brainstorm, you need to do your homework in order to find out what is a potential downside in order for this. And just think of it this way: if you don't come up with one, then you're going to sell less of them. Okay. And it's harsh criticism. And I know I'm feeling spicy today. I wore my spicy power suit. So I need you to figure out what could be a potential downside, and then let's work on that. Okay. Again, it's very powerful, but use it for good, not evil. Okay. Now, here's the thing is we've gone through this potential life-changing momentum shift. Okay. Now, we're still pretty early into this, so I wanted to give you some bonus material. I hope that's okay. I just can't stop myself. This is kind of fun for me too. So you have, let's say, 2 items in your place of business. Now, those 2 items could be a service, they could be a product, they could be a number of things. Now, one is priced here, one is priced down here. We probably want to sell this one, right? Because profit and money are kind of fun. They give you options. And so what we're going to do is, how do we compare those 2 items without slagging this one? Because if we slag that one, that ultimately might be the one that they walk out of the door with, and we don't want to make them feel bad. So how it's usually done in most places, if they have a higher priced item, a lower priced item, is they go, okay, well, this one, the higher priced one, has this, 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 and this. The other one, it's entry level. It's not very good. In fact, if you don't have a lot of budget, that's a great choice for you. Now, how do I feel stepping out with whatever you've pretty much slagged for me? I don't feel very good. And listen, when I shop downtown, of course, when I shop downtown, I hear this constantly, as people are degrading the lower priced item just because they don't exactly know how to do a comparison within the shop. So here's how we're going to do it from this point forward, because you know this technique, okay? And we can do this for disability insurance, for skincare. Let's do it for Ray-Ban sunglasses, okay? Now, I have a set of Ray-Bans. I love them immensely. They're awesome. So, okay, the Ray-Bans, great name. The warranty is actually 10 years long. You can actually replace the lenses. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but you can with the Ray-Bans. The other one is they look fashionable. They fit your face. And again, I think it's the one you were leaning towards, those Ray-Bans. So I've given 4 or 5 ideas on the Ray-Bans. Now I have a house brand that's maybe not Ray-Bans. Okay, so here's how I present that. That fits your face. We do have a 1-year warranty on this, and those are polarized lenses. So I gave 2 or 3 items versus 5 on the more expensive one. So here's what I'm doing: positive, 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 no negative. So when I walk out, at the very least, I know I'm not getting a 10-year warranty. I know I'm not getting that Ray-Ban, singular excellence for fashion. I'm a fan. But the thing is I'm still walking out with a house brand, but I'm not feeling bad about that. And I think that's the key, is we want people to walk out and know that, hey, wait a second, I actually feel good about buying that house brand, whatever that is. So again, I know I have a lot of people listening from different sectors and services across downtown. This one is really a key one. And again, you're going to have to practice it because it is tough. Okay. Okay. So I want to talk a bit about energy levels. And this is something that I came across when I was at a summit in Los Angeles. And what they were talking about was very interesting, especially if you're going to be presenting to someone or even standing in front of anyone. Again, selling a concept, product, service, whatever it is. So I was sitting down in a restaurant, and the server was one of those people. Okay. Hi, how are you today? Is everything okay? Is there anything on the menu that you'd really love? And I found it to be a little bit, I wouldn't say irritating. It just felt a little bit inorganic. That's the most diplomacy I can come up with in this particular moment. Anyway, came up, every exchange was, and I just, at some point, I think my child even said, wow, they are really up today. And I said, yeah, that's correct. It came across again as not reading the table, not reading my daughter and I, because it just felt superhuman. So here's what I suggest as far as energy levels go. Again, whenever you're presenting, whenever you're trying to get across an idea, be interested and engaged, but just a little bit less than irritating. And here's what also comes across whenever your energy level is here and I'm here. That means you're interested in being there at that moment. We've all had this when we're shopping and we see someone leaning, they're trying to chill out, they're trying to look all natural and everything else. But what comes across is you're uninterested in being with me at that moment. And that's not what we want to try to convey. So the energy level should be just a little bit up from whoever you're speaking to. So if you have somebody that's super like chill and like laid back and like, whoa, then we're just going to go up a little bit. And we're still going to speak with some good cadence in our speech, but we're going to bring it up a little bit to let that person know you're valued, you're worthwhile, I'm engaged, I'm interested, all those things. Because energy level does give the person you're speaking to a lot of nonverbal information. We've all heard the stat, and it's true. Nonverbal gives you a lot back. Okay. Okay. So again, I wanted to cram more stuff into this, but I'm not going to do that because the two concepts, the downside as well as the comparing the two items, we got to practice that. You cannot just come out of the chute and just be good at it. I was 15 trying to get into Toastmasters, and I had to do a speech to get into Toastmasters. Like they said, okay, if you want into this club before 16, you actually have to tell us your reasons why. I got to tell you, I was horrible. I was awful, but I showed enough promise that they said, okay, we'll let him in. He doesn't talk that well, but that's what Toastmasters was for. So if you can, I need you to practice this. I need you to hone the craft. Otherwise, it doesn't become automatic. And I really want it to be automatic for you to be able to use it effectively. So if you repeat enough times, it won't feel like that. It won't feel clunky. And that's a word, clunky. Is your place of business, again, where people work or where people develop? And that's the biggest thing. I'm going to give you a quote on this. Businesses have a hard time distinguishing between the cost of paying people or the value of investing in them. So thank you again for listening today, for being on a learning journey. I so appreciate you taking the time. And again, I hope those two techniques really help you engage with people and get you to yes a whole lot quicker. So again, let's keep going.